In this video, we're going to talk about triad shorthand notation, otherwise known as chord symbols. And this is really the first part of the 5 stages of advanced harmonic progression. If you want to learn more about advanced harmonic progression, please go to our website, jazzmentl.com. We need to understand these chord symbols right from the very beginning because that's what tells the player what to play. And so if you know how to read chord symbols, you're going to make a much better jazz player. So learning that is essential, and we're going to dive in right now and get started. What you'll notice on your screen, if you take a look at the bottom note of each of these chords, that's the root of each of the chords. And if we were to write that as a scale, we would get C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then back to C. This is also known as 1, and often we denote notes of the scale, whether we're in C, B flat, F, E flat, whatever key you're in, we denote them sometimes with Roman numerals by which note of the scale they are. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Again, it really depends on which key you're in. If you're saying play a 2-5-1 in the key of F, we know that that's a G, C to F. That's why we use Roman numerals. And that's why that whole concept of 1-6-2-5-1 is really important in jazz. Right now, we're working in the key of C to make things a little bit easier. So part of the 5 stages of advanced harmonic progression is to understand where chords come from, and they come from tertian harmony. Tertian means building chords in thirds. That's the way it's always been, and probably will always be. If you look at C and you go up in thirds, you get C, E, G. That is a major chord, just a major triad. If you go and put the 7th in, you get a C major 7th. So this is a 1 major 7th chord. Some people write it like that. Some people also write it with a major 7th, okay? Let's just erase that just to keep things a little bit neat. Okay, so this is really important because each chord as you go up the scale is built in thirds. Each of those has 4 notes each. And the 2 most important notes are the 3rd and the 7th. We call those the leading tones. They're the ones that tell us what type of chord it is. For example, in the first chord, C major 7th, or 1 major 7th, the 3rd and the 7th is a major 3rd and a major 7th. That's what gives it this symbol here, or this symbol here. If you put a 13 on that, that means that you need to start adding upper structure notes. Keep going in thirds. So if we go from C major 7 in thirds, and then you continue in thirds, you get D, F, and A, a minor chord. But the problem is that this interval with the 11th creates a flat 9 with the 3rd of the chord. So that's why if you look at this chord, this F is missing. Doesn't belong there because it creates a flat 9. It's a dissonant interval. So then why isn't it a C major 7th 9, 13? It is. It's just if you denote the 13, we don't need to put the 7 and 9 in there because those are what we call implied. As soon as we put a 13, we know that the 7th and the 9th are implied. Why? Because harmonically it makes sense to include those, and we don't need to clutter up our chord symbol with all of the numbers that we need to give the piano player or the musician a good idea of what chord we actually mean. Again, don't clutter it all up. If you put a 13, 7 and 9 are implied. That's why if you look at each of these chords, the only one that has a 7th is the half diminished 7th chord at the end. All the others have 11, 11, 13, 13, and minor 11, because we're not cluttering up the chord symbols, but we know that other notes are implied. Let's go to the second note of the scale, and let's build our chords. So from D, F, A, and C, the F is a minor third, which is the third of the chord, and then the 7th is just a 7th. It's not a major 7th, it's just a 7th, which makes it a minor 7th chord. So this would be 2 minor 7. If you keep going up in thirds, you get 9 and 11. You can go down here. And then the 13th is not available because it creates a tritone with the third of the chord. Tritones really only belong in minor 7 flat 5 chords or dominant 7th chords. So that B is not available. But we have the 9th and 11th and the 7th. So 7, 9 are implied. That's why it's a D minor 11th chord. Let's go to the third of the chord, and we have 1, 3, 5, and 7. Again, it's another minor chord, has a minor third and a 7th, making it a minor 7 chord. You look at the chord symbol up here, and you keep building up in thirds. You get 1, 3, 5, 7. 9 is not available, and 13 is not available because they create dissonance with the chord. The 9 is a flat 9 with the root, and the 13 is a flat 9 with the 5th. So throw those out and keep the 11. The 7th, not a major 7th, so just the 7th is implied. Okay, let's go to the fourth of the chord. This is the same as the first note of the scale. We're just on the fourth now, and we've got a major 7th. The leading tones are a major third and a major 7th. If you keep going up in thirds, you get 9, 11, and 13. The 11th is available in this case because it's a sharp 11. If it were a natural 11 or just a regular 11, it would be this. It would create a flat 9 with the third of the chord. In this case, it's like a G major triad on top. So that note is available. So the 7th, the 9th, and the 11th are implied in the key of C. Let's go to the 5th of the chord and build it up. We've got 1, 3, 5, and 7. The 3 and the 7th creates a tritone, making this a dominant 7th chord. It's a major third and a 7th, making it a dominant 7th chord. Tritones really need to be resolved. That's why they're very important chords, because they contain a tritone which always needs to be resolved. It's a harsh interval. If you build up in thirds, you get the 9th and the 13th. The 11th is not available because it creates a tritone with the third of the chord. If it were a sharp 11, it would sound like this, which is a cool chord symbol. In this case, the 7th and the 9th are implied, and you just write G13 or 5-13 chord. Okay, let's move on to the 6th of the chord, 1, 3, 5, and 7. It's also a minor chord because it contains the third is a minor and the 7th is a 7th. Okay, and the 9th and the 7th are implied. They're available. And the 11th, the 13th is not, because it creates a flat 9 with the 5th of the chord. Okay, so A minor 11th, 7th, and 9th are implied. So this is a 6 minor 7th chord. And then finally, This is a 7 half diminished 7th chord, or minor 7 flat 5. Let me explain. The first 3 notes, 1, 3, and 5, all are minor thirds, making that a diminished chord. So if you just write B, D, and F, it's just like a 7 diminished chord. If you put a 7th on top of that, the last interval is a major third. If it were a minor third, it would be a B diminished 7th chord. But because it's a major third on the end, again, just right out of the key signature, then it's a half diminished 7th chord, or a minor 7, because this is minor 7 chord, and this is the flat 5. So that's why it's half diminished 7th or minor 7 flat 5. Now, we do have the 11th and the 13th, which are available. The 9th is not available because it creates a flat 9 with the root. So the 11th and the 13th are, and those are the extensions that are available. Why do we not write 11 and 13? Is because just like the previous chords, those are implied. So the reason why I'm saying certain notes are implied is because you don't want to clutter up the chord symbol with every single alteration that's available, or every single extension. For example, if we wrote every single extension that were available for the C major 13th chord, it would be a C major 7, 9, 13. And again, if you did that for every single chord symbol, you'd get a lot of numbers and notes and symbols on the page, and it just clutters things up. So certain notes are implied. Now, it's not wrong to write it like this, just like it's not wrong to write this as a D minor 7th with a 9th and 11th. It's not wrong to write this as an E minor 7 with an 11th. It's not wrong to write an F major 7 with a 9, sharp 11, and 13. You get the idea, right? It's when you put the top extension for each of those, for example, the top extension available is the 13th, it means that the ones that came before it that are available are implied. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions about these triad shorthand notation or chord symbols, then just ask it below and I will get back to you with an answer. If you like the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, that'd be great. Just hit the little bell when you subscribe because you'll be notified of all the upcoming videos that we're making. So this has been a video about triad shorthand notation. In our next video, we are going to take a look at how to take these chord symbols and make excellent voicings for them. This is really part of the 5 stages of advanced modern harmonic progression. If you want to learn more about that, please check out our website at jazzmentl.com. Thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it. We'll see you in the next video.